TripShift is an automated tracking platform. We focus specifically on Scope 3 emissions, helping businesses track, reduce and report their transport emissions. The way the platform works is we've got a mobile application that is going to automatically detect how the individual is moving. Now that means that there is no need for manual surveys, spreadsheets, going through expense sheets either. It's all done automatically, sent to the dashboard where the company can then analyze all that data. The platform can help businesses focus on analyzing their data, so you can't reduce what you can't see. And a lot of data that is done manually is unreliable, so because we have this end-to-end automated tracking, you have a clear view of your data, and from there you can identify hotspots, you can identify what modes of transport are being used, if a specific team is a source of bigger emissions, and from there you can then identify areas of possible improvement. At the moment, our rollout plan is basically everyone is looking to reduce their carbon emissions. Scope 3 is notoriously difficult to track. Scope 3 is also becoming a lot more in the picture in terms of legislation. Big companies, 500 plus from the 6th of April, have to disclose their Scope 3 emissions, and that is going to be rolled out also to the supply chain. So our rollout is essentially anyone's a customer in terms of everyone is going to have to do it, not only because legislation is coming through, but also because from a stakeholder's perspective, from an employee's perspective as well, having an ESG plan and a reliable one and taking action that is seen as truthful is becoming more and more important for all companies. So at the moment we talk to larger enterprises because they're immediately the ones that are coming to the full width legislation, but essentially everyone is welcome to have a conversation. We're happy to talk to everyone. Scope 3 emissions, it's a big word, everyone throws it around, not everyone is very sure what it is actually. What it is carbon emissions that are produced because of your services or your company, but you do not have a direct control over. A typical example of this is employees commuting to work or business travel. So you do not have, as an employer, you don't have a direct say on how people must go to work. You cannot force your employees to take a train, take an electric car, or how they're going to get to a business trip, only to a certain extent. This is a typical example of what Scope's in, why it is difficult to track, because it is up to the individual and not the company. So that's an example of Scope 3. The Scope 1 would be, for example, something you have a direct control of. So what kind of energy is turning your lights on at the office? What kind of heating? You have a direct say on how green that's going to be, but you can't force your employees on how they're going to come to work. The pattern we see occurring in the next decade is we can see a big shift to decarbonizing transport, whether it's from an individual perspective or from the governments asking people to get more on public transport, or from a company perspective as well. There's a huge shift to decarbonize transport. That is also our main objective, is to help companies decarbonize their transport where it is possible. What we see coming in the future is that shift to decarbonize. We're also seeing, as we can see and move, there's more and more solutions on greener modes of transport, which also means it's going to be a lot more layered in terms of, it's not anymore I just jump in my car and go to work. You're going to be taking a scooter, you're going to be taking a bicycle and then jump on a train. So it's going to be a lot more layered, which means also tracking that is going to be more difficult and complex. So we've got to make sure that we keep up to speed with that progress in terms of data collection, so companies can really then also encourage that decarbonization of transport.